This is the Black Gospel Blog. We welcome Donnie McClurkin to our program. Happy to have you with us, sir.
Bob, listen, it's great being here with you.
I wanted to ask you, where did the idea of putting together an entire album of duets, where did that come from?
Well, it really came from one of my contemporaries, Fred Hammond. We were sitting on a cruise, a One Love Gospel cruise, 2.5 years ago, and we were talking about how to enhance gospel music because it was losing, to us it was losing its vigor. And Fred Hammond was the one that said, we'll bring more heat to the gospel music industry if we start to collaborate with one another. And he pointed out that some of the greatest collaborations in the secular music field brought the attention back to the practice. You know, so that's where that came from.
And how did you decide on what artists to include on your album?
That process happened more holistically. It happened just as I wrote songs, you'd hear different artists in your head singing them. And like when I did We Are Victorious, I heard Ty Tribbett. I woke up from a dream with the song in my head, and I could hear Ty Tribbett doing it. My Past is a song that I could hear Tremaine doing. So based on the caliber of the song, it was the artist that best fit the caliber.
Wow, so you wrote the song first and then kind of imagined who might be singing along with you.
Right, exactly.
Just real quickly about your songwriting practice, how does that happen? How do songs come to you?
They mainly come through the course of time or in a dream. Mm-hmm. That's why I keep my cell phone on the bed next to me, because if I wake up from a dream hearing a song, I put it on my voice memo. But that's how it comes. I'll hear something, and it'll catch me off guard, and I'll be walking through the airport, and a song will come in my mind. I'll put it on my phone. It comes in the craziest of ways. You know, there's no specific one mode or format to writing a song for me.
Wow.
It comes through inspiration.
You and Richard Smallwood, the same. I know he has dreams, and the songs come out of his dreams.
No, but that's a different caliber. That's genius. Richard is the maestro. You know, I bow at the feet of Richard Smallwood.
Well, now, was there anyone who you wanted on the album but was unavailable?
Yeah, Anita Baker, Fantasia, Kirk Franklin, those three.
Oh, so
they tried to make themselves available, and we worked together on a few things, but we could never finish it.
Yeah.
Because their schedule and my schedule became chaotic, and that's the only thing I regret.
Well, yeah. I suppose that if there's always a duets too, you have more possibilities there to make that happen.
Now you're talking.
Well, and now, were some of the duets done together in the studio, or did you have to kind of work around people's schedules and kind of blend it in the studio?
It was both. Tina and I worked in the studio together. Israel and I worked in the studio together. Dorinda and I, that was live. Tremaine and I, that was live. Yeah, so it was a mixture of both. John P. was in the studio, was separate.
Yeah.
But it all worked out to be the right element, the right equation.
So what was it like duetting with Tremaine? I mean, here she is, the generation before you, and you know what she has accomplished with her family, and here you are, the next generation. What was that like to work with her?
Well, it's iconic, because I've been a fan of the Hawkins ever since 1969, Oh Happy Day. You know, I was a little 9-year-old boy, and you grow up listening to these people, and they become iconic to you, and then the same industry brings you in and makes you contemporary and friend to them that you looked up to for so long. And to stand side by side and sing with Tremaine, we've been doing it throughout the years, but never to this degree.
Yeah.
And so to do it now is like coming full circle back to the start of your ministry, the start of your music. And her voice is more classic than it's ever been before. Her voice is timeless.
Yeah.
You can't find a voice in all of gospel music that even sounds like Tremaine.
That's right. That's right. Wow. And now, if you could go back in time and sing a duet with any gospel artist who has, passed away, who would that be?
It would be Walter Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be Mahalia Jackson.
Oh,
those two. Because I loved Mahalia Jackson. I was 12 years old when Mahalia Jackson died, and I cried when she passed away.
Oh, wow. Yes. Did you ever get a chance to see her live as a child?
Never.
Yeah.
Because by the time I was old enough, she wasn't singing as much. And in 1972, I was 12 years old.
Yeah, and you knew Walter Hawkins, but just never had a chance to sing with him.
Yeah, we sang on concerts and we sang on services, but never to record. And yeah, Walter was very, very close to me, a very close friend.
Wow.
And that was my only problem, is that he passed away, and we don't have anything to memorialize it, to immortalize our relationship.
Sure, sure. Well, you know, I'm thinking you and Hezekiah Walker, John P. Key are starting to become elder statesmen of gospel music, and I'm saying that you and I are about the same age, so I understand what that means. But you're getting that front row respect from younger artists. So from your perspective, and you kind of hinted at it at the beginning of the interview, is gospel music going in the right direction, or are there some things you think that there's some course corrections that need to be made from a perspective of now being seen from this generation as kind of the Walter Hawkins of your generation of gospel?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's both. It's going in the right direction, and there are some things that need to be changed. I think the greatest and most important portion of that is it's going in the right direction. We're raising up some great artists, but now we've got to make sure that the life of the artist is in line with the music that they sing.
Yes.
That it's not just seen as entertainment. Now, that's the only problem that needs to be changed, is that the music industry is viewing this as entertainment. And we in the gospel music industry are becoming more entertainers. And we're losing the essence of what gospel music is, and that's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That would be the greatest problem I have with gospel music.
Yeah.
But the greatest promise that we have with gospel music is the caliber of talent that's rising up. The musicality that is becoming so creative. I keep talking about J. Moss and his revision of Pharrell's Happy. Mm-hmm. He did a cover of Pharrell's Happy that is absolutely genius. The boy's mind is crazy. He's a lunatic. And I mean, really, that impacted me so great. And he was inspired, and that inspiration showed in this creativity, this harmonies that he put together, the progressions of chords that he sang. Forget about played. It was sheer genius, sheer genius. So that's the promise of gospel music, is that it's becoming a lot more progressive, without losing the Mahalia Jacksons, without losing the James Clevelands, without losing the Hawkins and the Crouches. It's progressive, but it's still in line and in touch with its beginnings.
Well, yeah, and in fact, I think the hope that we see there is the fact that back in 1949, Kenneth Morris and Sally Martin said the same thing. They basically outlined what you said. You know, gospel getting too well, they said worldly, basically entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, people are in it for what they can get out of it, and this and that, and yet then after that, the 50s and 60s produced some of the best artists we'd ever had. So we can only hope then that as these corrections are made, that more artists, we see another 10, 20 years of fantastic artistry coming up.
Absolutely. And we will, because even with what we do on Sunday Best, you can see the level of artistry growing, and you see it at such a young age. You know, the last year and a half, the Sunday Best winners were 18, and with vocality that was matchless. We're watching the youth grow up and taking the stage, but now we've got to make sure they're groomed for it.
Donnie, what would you still like to accomplish in gospel music? What as you look out to the future, what are your plans?
I don't have any, and I never have. I'm going to continue to stay the course and do what God's called me to do, to follow hard after what God has given me. The music is secondary. The ministry is primary. And if I can use music to minister, I will. But there's no specific plan. There's no configured approach that I have. I don't have anything in place that I want to do except do it as I have done it. Because from the time I started to this, there was no plan. It was, let's find out what God is doing and what he wants me to do. And so everybody who's worked along with me, we've all followed that format. Okay, what are we doing? Then fine, let's figure out how to do it as we go, but we have to wait for God to give us the format on what he wants done.
Yeah, and that's great too, because then you sort of get led by the Spirit, and that I'm sure can get more things done and more amazing things done than you could if you sat down and said, okay, in 5 years I'm going to do this, and in 10 years I'm going to do this, because that's sort of self-directed then. Well, absolutely,
and that's the thing that causes demise. Number one, it's key to failure, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you can't plot or plan your success. You can only obey and follow the direction to success.
Indeed, indeed. Wise words. The current single.
Mm-hmm. We are victorious.
Yes, yes. And any other singles planned in the near future?
I leave that up to the record company because that's their forte.
Yeah,
they know that.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be marketable, what would be, what would be conducive to be the next release. I was listening to Beyonce the other day, and she was saying, I'm an artist. I want to do CDs. She said, I want to do a whole project. She said, the music industry has gone down to what single you can put out. Mm-hmm. She said, everybody's doing a whole project worth of singles. Mm-hmm. She said, but I want to show my total artistry on one whole project. And I had to agree with her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to keep the artistry real, not just pump out a one-off.
Right.
But I want to keep the artistry, the flow. There's a flow that goes in a CD. There's a thematic flow. There's a consistent thread that goes through a whole entire work, a project. But when you just do a song by song, then there's no connection.
Absolutely, and in fact, that's a whole different conversation about now being able to download music. People can almost preempt the flow. They could say, I want that song and that song and that song.
Exactly.
I would imagine that every single song, while it's a flow on duets, each one stands on its own. And I know you got to run. We wish you all the best, Donnie McClurkin, on the new album, and wherever your creative artistry and God takes you in the future.
Well, Bob, thank you. You'll keep me in your prayers. On my way to Russia.
Oh.
And I'll minister 3 times there. And there's a whole globe. There's 7 billion people on this earth. So everything that we do has got to be with that in mind.
Absolutely.
7 billion people, and we've got to bring this gospel of the kingdom to all of them.
Thank you, Donnie McClurkin. Thanks for spending time with the Black Gospel Blog. God bless you.